and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Monday, July 21st. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, come up to the microphone, give us your name and address, and state your business with this body. Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Cedar.
Here.
Member Foley.
Here.
Kinsfater.
Here.
Krebs.
Here.
Kappa.
Here.
Lepore.
Here.
McCartney.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're going to make one addition to the agenda tonight under new business C, Historical District Committee application process. All right, we'll go to consent agenda 4A, City Council minutes of July 7th, 2014, regular meeting recommendation approved. Fees of Beautification Commission minutes of June 10th, 2014, meeting recommendation received. C's the Board of Cemetery Trustees minutes of June 17th, 2014, meeting recommendation received. D is the St. Clair Historical Commission minutes of June 12th, 2014, recommendation received. And E, the Zoning Board of Appeals minutes of June 18th, 2014, meeting recommendation received.
Motion to approve A through E as presented, Your Honor. Support.
All right, the motion is made to support. Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. We will go to 5 presentations. We have Mr. Jeff Kellogg in the audience tonight for a proposal for 405 Clinton Avenue. You're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a former city commissioner in another community, I can appreciate the service that you all do and take your personal time. And I know the pay is real good. I had to laugh one time when I had a new person get on the council, and he said, "Well, how much money do we get?" And I said, "Well, at that time, that particular city was broke." He found out he had to work a lot more than he said he was supposed to.
We can share.
Yeah.
We can share. They don't have to give us all one. We can share.
Thank you. I'll share with Jim.
Thanks. Let me just put you on, Sharon. Thank you.
Neighbor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good.
You might want one for your own.
There you go. Someday.
Back a few years ago, one of our former residents needed to sell the property real bad, and so I popped up and I bought it from him. And when I bought it from him, I knew with its location and everything, it's a good spot for future growth for the city and everything. And at that time, my neighbor, Fred Moore, and I visited about it and what could be done with it and everything else. And so my thought was, until something can happen, why not go and make the building look a little better? Reason being, if you take a look at it, do you tear it down or do you keep it? And if anybody's going to do anything with it, either way, you want the least amount of money in that particular facility, the old car wash. So I got a hold of an architect, had him draw up these plans, and basically all it's doing is making the front look a little better with some garage doors to cover it up instead of the particle board that's up there, and put it on the back. It so happens I've got a few antique cars, and I can use it to sit there and store it. But I also made the offer, and I talked to city manager Mike Booth. I don't have a problem if something comes up that's good for the city to do something with it. I'm not here to hold the city up with regard to its price. Whatever an MIA appraisal comes out, it's fine. I don't mind signing a form for it. And somebody even said, well, you know, the city ought to have it. And I said, well, that's fine. And they said, well, the city doesn't have any money. And I said, well, that's fine. If you need to, I said, I'll finance it. Doesn't bother me, either way. But what I was trying to do is make something a little better for the city. I brought these plans to the building inspector. The architect actually did back in February of 13. And we've kind of been going round and round on it. And to me, the thing just sitting there like it is, something needs to be done. And I know there's some other things that are going on in town. In fact, Mr. Coase has been trying to come up with some different ideas and plans and everything to make it better. In fact, Gary, do you have something you'd like to say with regard to that?
If that's possible.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm Gary Coase, and I moved here 2 years ago, and it's not a big secret that I have an interest in the St. Clair Inn and have been pursuing it. I've met with the banks in Florida and everything, and I may just say that without going any further, there's a serious effort to try and recover it and make it a world-class facility, which it can be. And towards that end, if you're going to invest money in a situation like that, you need the infrastructure surrounding it to be what it should be if you're going to bring people back to the St. Clair Inn. So consequently, about 6 weeks ago, a small group were sitting at Ackett's restaurant after it closed on a Sunday evening, and I just made the comment, where's the city center? And the response for the people there, and these were a lot of people associated with the Titanic display, and that's when I discovered St. Clair. Well, 6 months after I moved here, I found out my family's buried in the cemetery, and they go back to 1868. So that explained why I moved here. I didn't know why I moved here. I just moved here. But that explained it. At any rate, where's the city center? Well, there really isn't one. I said, well, but there's a great community here. We found that with the Titanic thing. All these diverse people came together from all walks of life, and it was a phenomenal success. But that told me that St. Clair is really a great place. And then I looked around in Marine City and Algonac and Port Huron, and I said, where's the vision? So this small group of people, who I would call doers, I said, well, let's just put together a vision and make St. Clair the gateway to the Blue Water area. We'll bring everybody through St. Clair, and we'll pitch them off south and north, but we will be the focus for the Blue Water area. And so we actually wrote a plan. And the plan had to be a plan that didn't rely on government approvals. It didn't have to rely on the Moore Foundation, the Atchison Foundation. It would be funded and driven by community involvement. So consequently, we put that together. The first thing we did is they said, well, let's use the mall here. It's not our first choice. We have a first choice, but it was our second choice. Let's use this mall next door here in the mall, and that will improve the appearance and hopefully attract new people. And if you get the inn back, then we can send them across the street to something really theoretically nice. We took it to the community foundation. They loved the idea. Well, of course, they excluded us at that point in time from any involvement in it. And we said, that's fine. Just go right ahead and do it. And they've done it. So in 6 weeks, we've achieved that. And then we said, well, no matter what you do there, it's like putting and pardon the expression, a pink ribbon on a pig. It's still a pig. The point is, if you can't get people to come across the street from the park, you're never going to generate business at that mall, because that, I call it expressway through town, and it's like a lot of other small towns in Michigan. It just divides the community and really tears down the business district. And this goes back to 1949. They thought they were doing the right thing, but they weren't. So I started asking the question, what about a boulevard? And they said, well, we've been trying 15 years, 14 years to do that. No, it's for 5 years, plan this and that. An hour on the internet, I came up and I said, no, we can do it right now. I mean, the law was changed last December. And I won't go into that because some of you councilmen were part of that meeting. And in our very first meeting in terms of the boulevard, the bottom line was, yeah, it can be done. And we had our Republican senator there and our Democratic representative, and that's a first, because they both agreed to work together to get it through MDOT. And we can have a boulevard all the way to the city limit, bike path, everything. And I won't go into that, other than the fact that we've now already spoken to the concerns and up with the bridge and left turns, and that's done. And now we're moving on. So then I knew that Jeff's a neighbor, and I knew that he bought the car wash down there. And then it's not really the most pleasant looking place in town, but he said, well, they won't let me make the improvements to it because it doesn't fall under a certain zoning, whatever. I said, well, Jeff, here's the deal. It butts up to the marina, and part of our plan is a welcome center that would be there for boaters as well as for public, automobile traffic and walk-in traffic. That car wash should be a great welcome center. What do you think? If we put this whole thing together and we get down the road, would you consider making that available for our welcome center? He says, yeah, absolutely. Makes all the sense in the world. So I said, well then, if that's the case and you're willing to do that, why won't the commission let you make improvements to it? Because anything's better than what's there. I mean, it's, you could put a sign up saying the pride of St. Clair, but I don't think it is. So why not make the improvements? Why not let him make the improvements? And he said, I don't know. So I said, well, I'm on a tear these days anyway, and we're making headway, and we're doing some really great stuff, and we're doing it without foundations, without big money. We developed a whole plan for the courtyard at no cost, and the point is, we've gone down the road on the boulevard thing at no cost, and we can do the boulevard at no cost to the city. We've already identified the money to achieve it if the city council asks for it. And we've got 2 guys in Lansing that will walk it through from the top down instead of from the bottom up. So I said, well, if you want, I'll come to the meeting tonight and say, yeah, it's in our plans to do this, and I've got a printout of our plans, and it's not very good. I mean, it's just a Xerox copy, because when the time's right, we want to come in and do a proper presentation to the city council and say, here's what we would like to do for St. Clair. We'd like to make it the gateway to the Blue Water area. We already have a commitment to bring the National Wooden Boat Show here. They'll bring it to St. Clair, 1,000 boats, week-long event. We'll fill every marina from Port Huron to Algonac, and that's not pie in the sky. We can deliver this. Everything in this proposal we can deliver, and we can deliver the Welcome Center as well. And Jeff's got it. It looks like a car wash right now, but that would make a great Welcome Center. So what I'm saying is, I'm just here to support Jeff and say, let them make the improvements that are going to have to be made anyway, and I don't think Gucci and Tiffany are coming in anytime soon, and we already have a McDonald's and a Tim Hortons and a Burger King. I think anything's better than what's boarded up there right now, and I think when we get to that point for the Welcome Center, then the improvements have been made and we can move forward much faster. So thank you for your time.
Jeff, do you want anything?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The least expensive thing to do, Mayor, is just go put some nice-looking garage doors on the building, trim it out, and until something happens, do it. I don't have a problem with signing a letter of intent with the city if the city wants to buy it, to do it. And if you take a look at the pieces of property that are there and where the location is, it all makes sense for it to happen. And all I'm trying to do is make something look a little bit better than it is. Otherwise, it'll just sit there the way it is. So hopefully you can all take a look at this and come to the conclusion that we just need to go and put the garage doors on. By the way, they've been shipped and they'll be here in about a week.
All right, thank you.
Positive
You
thinking.
can sit down, but we might call you back up here in a minute, okay?
That's fine.
I do want to hear from Member Laporte, our Planning Commission representative. You're up.
Well, Your Honor, at the Planning Commission, we were never asked, we never saw a site plan. That we were asked about a conceptual drawing, and you see our minutes, that type of thing. We told him to come back with a drawing, and Dee's here too, and he can help us out, too, that we needed a little more to go on, because storage building in that district is not a permitted use. We also went to our planner, who was Kyle Wortman, and you can see the minutes from the documentation that he sent back. He didn't encourage it either. He said we could squeak by if there was and I see in this drawing now there's a bathroom and an office. We encouraged, and we talked about it at the Planning Commission, well, if it had more like glass doors on the front of it like Freddie Moore did, well, that's a little different. And there was a variance offered to Freddie when he did his. Dee, is there anything you want to add?
Mr. Boyer?
Yes, when Jeff originally talked to me, well, to start with, the Cash for Gold guy had come in and was looking for an architect. I sent him to Bill Vogan in Port Huron, does a nice job. He had already done some work on the building. He knew the building, he had the measurements and that sort of stuff. Jeff buys it and comes in. Of course, we had a little meeting, and I had talked to Dave Skirdo, our city planner, and what he said was, now, if he were to put an office in and maybe landscape the front, put glass doors on the front and displayed it, we could do museum office type setup. But that was still pushing the zoning district. Now, as you know, that's a brand new district. That was part of the vision plan as far as being the entertainment district, okay? So it really isn't a permitted use. I would probably recommend, I know that I would recommend not approving garage doors for it. What I would say is if something hasn't been done within a year, I would recommend taking the building down. That's what my recommendation would be. But the thing that Mr. Kellogg's going to have to do, I would presume, would be to do a full-scale site plan, go back to the Planning Commission, and then his appeal would be to the City Council if he gets turned down at the Planning Commission. And as I recall, Mike, there wasn't anybody that was interested in entertaining what was proposed at that time.
So the planning commission voted unanimously to
Well,
not accept this plan?
On the conceptual drawing. I mean, there was never any formal site plan review done on it. He had just did the drawings, and, you know, I mean, he knew what he should have done, but apparently he didn't want to do it, and I can understand. It would cost a little bit more money, but, you know, that building has been an eyesore for a long time, and I think as a council, you know, it's either improve your site, make it conforming to that district, or I think it should come down, period. I mean, that's my own personal feeling. But
You can see also by the minutes that have been circulated, Tom, you and I were both on planning at that time.
That was all part of form-based zoning that went
Well,
through.
the downtown redevelopment district, and we worked, the planning commission worked on that a year and a half, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was tough to get through, but, I mean, there was a lot of thought that went into that district and the whole district.
I've got a couple of questions, if you mind, Mayor, for you, Dee. I've read the minutes from the planning, and they're quite lengthy. There's a lot of discussion about this building.
It was
Back and
towards
forth.
the end of
Yeah, a lot
the meeting, because it was.
There's 5 pages of highlighted conversation, and there's back and forth. There's some that say if you put in a bathroom in an office, change the doors a little bit, you know, they could probably maybe approve something like that, and then there's some that
And this
says-
is
you know,
going
yeah,
on.
I'm just
what
reading
the-
back and forth. yeah.
What Dave Skirdo had said,
Right.
we would be pushing it, but we could do it as office storage or office museum, more like Fred Moore's building.
Okay.
And this is what
Right,
Jeff was
right,
kind of
okay.
proposing, other than
Right.
Fred Moore paid $10,000 apiece for his doors. I mean, you can see the boats.
So
Here, you can't see anything.
I guess I'm asking is if they can either leave the building like it is and fight with us in the city to tear it down someday, and it'd probably be like every other building in town that needs to be torn down, and they're not, or we can look at a plan like this and ask him to come back and at least make the building look presentable.
Other than-
the things that we're arguing about is, you're right, you can put a pink ribbon on a pig and it's still a pig, and that's what it looks like today. There's no doubt about it, and I think Jeff would admit that. But if I look at these plans and I'm wondering, okay, it improves the building, improves the property, it probably improves the value, so it improves the tax base, that it makes it saleable. I'm trying to figure out what's the argument. That's,
The
and me,
argument
just me, that's all.
is that the planning commission went according to the vision plan and developed this district, and that is not permitted in that district.
But there was a car wash there that was operating when it was planned. And if that
No,
could've
the
still-
car wash was already closed when downtown redevelopment district got passed. Just because you have stuff going in a district that would be non-conforming if it was new, doesn't make it right to say, well, just because it used to be a car wash, it should still be able to be a car wash.
No, I'm not arguing that point. I guess I'm arguing for the betterment of the property, for the improvement of the property. As it sits today, there's no value to it. There's no value to it.
You tell me where the value is gonna be.
I can't
You
tell
put a
you.
couple of garage doors on it and
I don't
close
know.
it.
I can't tell you
There's
that.
no value, there's maybe a few dollars extra value in the building. The building is not worth anything, to be honest with you. The masonry's deteriorating, I mean, it's not good. Even though, he did have the roof kind of fixed, which was leaking at the time, but now it's not, I guess, but, you can argue this point, but I just think the planning commission really actually would try and work with them, but not garage doors that you couldn't see in or anything like that. And I'm not, I'm just speaking from what we talked about that night, and it was pretty much 7-0 that weren't in favor.
The intent, like Mr. Kellogg, is to store your antique cars, is that correct?
That's all I put in there. I mean, I don't have anything else. My main thing is, I know Dee's saying it needs to be torn down. Well, the house next door to it needs to be torn down before the car wash.
Well, both of those parcels.
And so,
I'll go on record.
We've had that discussion. We've had that, and
so we
No,
we all know that that property is such it'll be nice to make a park out of it or whatever it comes about. And I'm interested in working and doing something with it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with signing a letter of intent that y'all can have the property or whatever. That's not my issue. My issue is it looks like crap. What's the least expensive way to at least make it look good until that property is sold?
Well, I am all for improving St. Clair. I don't think anybody up here would say they aren't, but the Planning Commission spent a lot of time developing form-based zoning. And unless someone's going to make a motion to overturn the Planning Commission, I would suggest that you take these and come back and sit down and talk with Mr. Boyer and find out what you can really do to do kind of what you want to do and what he wants to do, and then go back to Planning Commission.
well, I think he's had that discussion with Mr.
We've
Boyer.
already been there.
It should be referred
And that's
back
the
to the
reason we're
planning
here.
commission.
And, if I put some antique cars in there, I'm not interested in having glass doors on there for people to look in and maybe somebody to break into it. It's foolish. You don't do that.
The other thing, just to back up, the realtor is the one really, and it really tees me off when they don't check the zoning to make sure when they try and sell something that it's permitted in that district. I mean, had they called, he probably would have never bought it. Well, I don't know, he might.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Pete,
Okay.
because when I talked to Fred, one of the things he said to me, he said, what would you do with that building? We got yakking back and forth. He said, well, you ought to donate it. Well, you know what? I almost donated it to the city because of him. And then I ran into this, and I just said, the hell with it. I'm not going to fool with it anymore. I guess what throws me off is I can't understand it. I just, like I said, there's a pig sitting there, and somebody wants to go and make it look a little bit better until the right thing comes along to do it. If you invest a lot of money into that building, it's not feasible. If you put up another building, it'll screw it up for down the road to build a park or to continue on with a marina area. So it's a case of where y'all are going to have to make a decision which direction you want to go with it.
Jeff, would you be willing to sit down with the planning commission again? I know you guys have already done this, but I'm saying sit down again and say, we've been to council, council has asked us to come back and talk to you guys and see if we can find some kind of compromise, some kind of middle ground. Because really, I've just been informed that we can't even make a motion tonight to override what happened anyway.
There hasn't been a site plan review.
There's been no site plan review anyway, so we can't overturn anything tonight.
I don't think there was a decision at planning anyway, was there?
Yeah.
Was there a decision at planning to?
No, it was just talk. There was not a site plan with this. It was just, what you have is what the planning commission had that particular night, just the elevation.
If you try to make offices out of it, it doesn't make dollars and cents sign, with regard to the renting out those. If you tear the building down, here you got a blank piece of land with nothing on it. So maybe that might be better, cut the taxes at least. But that whole block needs to be cleaned. We all know it. I mean, and anybody that says, well, no, not necessarily, they're just kidding themselves. That's all I'm trying to do. If I spend more money on it, it's going to cost the city or whoever buys it more money. So
Jeff, I like that you have a vision. I like that you want to do something, but I'm going to ask you to take another look with planning or D or whoever, but right now, we really can't do anything for you here tonight, other than just kind of give you some...
Mayor, I understand that, but I also want to make sure that you all saw what I've tried to get done for the last year and a half, and have not been able to get anything done.
All right. Does anybody else want to weigh in?
Well, I just have one comment. I think, all right, this was supposed to be the entertainment district, the block on Clinton. And to me, entertainment means foot traffic. And if we had a storage area, it's not promoting foot traffic. I know it's not promoting anything right now either, but that's my opinion, is that it's not a storage area. I don't know.
Right.
No, well, and I understand what you're saying. And it's not going to change. It's going to look just like it does right now. And that won't get any more foot traffic. It won't make it appealing to anybody to buy and tear down, or tear down later. And so why not make it at least look halfway appealing in there until you're able to come up with something, or some developer who wants to buy the other pieces of property and make that section what your end game is. I just have a hard time being in the private sector understanding this.
Anybody else want to weigh in on this? All right, well, again, I'm going to ask you again, and I know you're probably getting frustrated, but go back, take your pencil out, maybe sit down with Boyer or planning or both or whatever, and
I've tried and tried.
never give up.
I usually don't, but sometimes it's easier just to sit there and let it sit. And if I can't get some people to work with me, then why should I work with them later on? It gets into that because you get frustrated as time goes on. That's the only problem that you run into, Mayor. And I'm used to when somebody wants to do something, they find reasons why we can make it work instead of finding all the reasons why it can't.
I can appreciate that.
Nothing personal with Jim, who's my neighbor, but a lot of times, we've got a lot of politicians that are in the legal percent, and they find reasons why we shouldn't do something because of problems down the road. We need to take a look at what we can do to make things grow instead of finding reasons why we don't want it to do. Anyway, that's my spiel for y'all.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr.
Any
Foley has a
questions, please
question.
ask.
Well, I guess my question would be maybe for Dee and you and Mike. I mean, I somewhat understand what Tom is saying. I mean, what is it that he could do? Okay, and I guess maybe it would be easier for you to tell me what's allowable there.
Okay, what's allowable is what's in the book, and I could read them all.
What's in the book? No, I mean, for example, Dee.
Well,
For example.
I'll read them to you.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What?
There's a lot. That's why it's got to be.
There's a lot.
Well, you can summarize for me. I'm an easy guy. Condominium.
Banks, credit unions, insurance, bed and breakfast, hotels, laundry and dry cleaning personal service, mixed-use residential commercial office, and actually that's what we were trying to do when I talked to Dave Skirtle.
By putting the bathroom in
And this
there.
is what I relayed to him, and I relayed this to the architect, and the architect told him it wasn't gonna get a good look because you didn't make any kind of an effort to do what the planner could even consider signing on to, you know. Let's see, what else? Personal services, barber shops, et cetera, that sort of stuff, beauty shops. Pool rooms would be a special use.
Can I just go back to offices?
Yep.
So if it was zoned offices, Mike, I mean, you've been on the planning commission for 50 years. If it was zoned offices, right? I mean, the back door of the office is a garage door.
Okay, now let me finish. Here's exactly what I told Mr. Kellogg.
Right on.
One office, bathrooms,
Yep.
and then glass doors, and what Dave said, we could probably push it as a museum office deal to get it approved. And that's what he was told by me, what the planning commission may be able to approve. Now, if the city planner is on board, usually the planning commission will go along with them 90% of the time, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Usually.
Yeah, but you've got to get the planner on board, and he said the only way I could be on board is if there was at least one office in there. And did I not tell you that? Yeah. Okay. And did I not tell you that you had, those overhead doors should have glass in them?
Right.
Okay.
But I agree.
Well, I realize that, but I mean, that's where we have our disagreement.
Right.
This is why I can't sign on to saying, yeah, I'd let you.
So
Now-
there's lots of things it could be.
You can,
Oh, there are a lot of things that it could be, yeah. Whether that building would accept a lot of them, I don't really know.
Right.
Now, the Cash for Gold guy was gonna put an addition on it if, you know, and, which never ever transpired, but he was kinda hooked up with, the Italian place, but that didn't happen.
There was a lot of stories about
Yeah,
that.
I realize that, but, you know,
Alright.
I actually got on him to put the plywood on it just to close the thing up because people were parking in there and that sort of stuff, so.
You were getting a lot of calls on Blight, too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with both, why this one's coming down, the other one should get taken down also, I mean.
You know,
It would, I think if that was a vacant piece of property, it would be, you'd get a lot of activity as far as investors go. Now you've got something to work with. It's a big enough piece of property.
Dee, is it structurally, have you been around it a little bit at all?
There is a lot of the block that is deteriorating pretty good that probably is gonna require some tuck pointing and, or replacing, that sort of stuff. I haven't looked at it close. You know, there's a lot of parking lot there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dee. Thank you, Mr. Kellogg, Mr. Coase, thank you very much. We'll go to number 6, reports administration, Mr. Booth.
Several items this evening. I'll start with an update on the salt truck. The city's salt truck, originally approved for an amount not to exceed $135,000, has been ordered. The truck was purchased, the body itself, for $81,305. With the equipment for the truck, adding another $48,466 for a total cost of $129,771. The production for the vehicle itself will begin in August. I want to say it's the 8th. And you will notice on your claims and accounts 2 different checks that were cut to get that going.
That was a 80, 90, or what was that, 80 or 90?
80-20%
80-20.
grant. So to the city, it'll be about $25,000 on a vehicle that's about 130, just for rough numbers. The SRF project, I think I updated here recently, one of the recent council meetings, but I wanted to just make sure everyone is aware, all of the construction on all 3 pieces of the project is, they're all complete, except for one repair on Clinton Avenue. It's a 126-foot section of 8-inch sewer pipe. It's just west of 10th. This line developed a fin after it was installed by Inland Waters. AEW is working with Inland to correct the issue. Floating dock project. Floating docks were ordered and have been received. Prior to installation, approval is needed by the DEQ and apparently the Army Corps of Engineers. I spoke with Paul Peterson of the DNR. He's also asked for some additional site plan information. Mr. Bullier, I'm going to ask for your help on that one. Usage during this season is, I would say, very unlikely. Harbor camping project. Mr. Bullier, at the DEQ's request, sent additional information. At this point, we're waiting for the DEQ's latest response. That's the update I have this evening, Your Honor.
All right. Any questions or anything for that?
Just a comment. I mean, we can't get any local help
From?
anybody from the regarding the DEQ. I mean those are 2 pretty big things that they're kind of holding up for no reason whatsoever.
Ask
I
Mr.
don't
Kellogg to
think that
respond
way.
to
That's
how
the way
small
they
things
move.
move sometimes.
Well, I guess I get it, but
Mr. Lockwood could tell you about that, right, Dan? They move when they want to move, how they want to move.
okay.
Tom, I'll continue to try and push it along, and I do have names of people, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't mind calling.
I'm not
and-
blaming you at all. I'm just saying, but holy moly, season's over.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Downey, anything tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your
All
Honor.
right, any city departments here tonight? D is authorities, boards, and commissions, committees, or council reps. All right, we'll go to number 7, unfinished business. We have nothing there. New business. A, approval of permit for the St. Clair Downtown Development Authority Whistles on the Water event. Chief?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm in receipt for a request for approval of a special events permit. The St. Clair Downtown Development Authority is requesting permission to host their annual Chalk the Walk and Whistles on the Water event to be held on September 27th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This will be held in the Palmer Park and Riverview Plaza area. They have all the necessary documents and they're received and in compliance with the city ordinance. I respectfully recommend approval for their event.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All right, motion made, supported. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Chief. We'll go to B, appoint Sharon Johnson to the Golf Commission. Member Kinsfider, do you want to say anything about that, or?
Kay Houston was previously on there. She actually moved up to Marysville, and she served the commission quite well, but Sharon Johnson had her application in, and we interviewed her, and we think she'll be a good fit.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion's made and supported to approve the appointment of Sharon Johnson. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go to C. The city is in the process of setting up a historical district, and our first step here is to appoint a historical district committee. If you are interested in serving on that committee, please get your applications into City Hall by Monday, August 4th. It's to establish and work on a framework for a historical district. Applications at City Hall by August 4th. We'll go to number 9, claims and accounts for July 11 and 18, 2014.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
Made, supported. Questions? Concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to number 10. Public questions and comments, 3 minutes, non-agenda items. Anybody have anything tonight? Go ahead, Gary.
Just a point of interest regarding the inn. And I don't know if the council, but Mr. Boyer is here, and he may be able to answer the question. The boat races are coming up. Am I to believe that the inn will remain closed until it meets code? There has been a lot of activity there, and to my understanding, there have been no inspections, and there are issues with the inn. Will an occupancy permit be provided it's not up to code? Or must the owners bring it up to code in order to have an occupancy permit, even for this coming weekend? That's my question.
All right, thank you. Dee, do you have an answer for that? Why we pay you so much, buddy? Come on.
As a matter of fact, I was there today, and Mitch was with me, and basically, no, to answer your question, there are ways out for any kind of occupancy permit from me. Now, like I told them, if it got political, it might be a little different, but as far as I was concerned, you know, the pool has been a thorn in my side since I've been here, and that roof has got to be done for me to give them any kind of an occupancy. And I think, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, until the property, you can tell us that.
There's a land use issue as well.
Yeah, so basically, until it gets resolved on that property south of the inn, I believe, we wouldn't probably do it. Not unless it got
No
political.
temporary permit.
Is that to say it won't be open for the boat?
Oh, it definitely isn't gonna be open for the boat races. I'm not saying they're not gonna be sitting on the grass down there. I mean, I've already rented out some spots.
All right, thank you, Dee. Any other public comment or questions? Yes, sir.
This has to do with the boat race, so it kind of goes hand in hand. So I just wanted to publicly bring it up. I get this every year, and it's no different this year, as we're getting bombarded with phone calls about golf carts during the weekend of the boat race. State of Michigan states if you have a golf cart, gator, or anything, and it meets the criteria that the Secretary of State says you qualify, you can get a license through the state of Michigan and actually drive it on the city streets. Any city street that goes 35 miles an hour or slower. Now, with that being said, with the boat race coming to town, we are bombarded with people in their golf carts. It's always been a hard thing to control, but what happens is the Fun Fest has the whole area downtown that's roped off. We give out golf cart permits for certain groups of people that have something to do with the boat race. Either the function of the offshore boat race, Fun Fest. We have people from Melkins Marina that get a permit to keep an eye on the tug. St. Clair Nursery does work down on irrigations. Things of that nature, we give out special permits that they can drive within that perimeter. But they're not supposed to be driving anyplace else on the city streets unless they're actually licensed through the state of Michigan. Now, can we stop everybody and tow every car? Of course, or every golf cart? It's impossible with all the people that we have down there. Do we make contact with people? Sure, that's what we try to do. Say, look, you're not in compliance, you need to take it off the city street, or you could actually get a ticket and lose it. So I'm getting bombarded with people saying, well, I had a senior citizen father or something that can't walk. We've already rented one from Port Yarn. Well, unless it's legally licensed with the state of Michigan, you're not to drive golf carts on the city streets of St. Clair. So if there's any questions, I'll be more than help you, but we get this every year.
Does that include the motor scooters that are running around all over the place?
Unless they have license plates. What happens is the boats people themselves come to town, and they're able to take a moped or whatever within that time to go back and forth to restore any things that they've got on their boats that they need to have. But just to drive around town and everything else, no, that's actually illegal to be doing.
Having fun enforcing that?
It's very hard to enforce it.
All right, Chief.
Okay.
Good luck this weekend. All right, any other public comment? All right, we will go to number 11. And I would just like to reiterate the boat race is coming this weekend. Everybody put on their patience. Member Kinfetter is really very involved. Do you want to put anything out here right now?
Just hope we have good weather.
Hope for good weather.
Looks like it so far.
So far, so good, but looks like somewhere's between 40 and 50 boats. Got the carnival coming, good bands.
40 and
Good
50
weekend.
boats? How many
40
Super
and
Cats
50.
do they think?
8.
Ooh,
in one class.
Wow. That's a
And then a
record for
couple
us,
of
isn't it?
extreme boats. We haven't seen that since 2000.
2,000? Oh,
Yeah.
Is that improvement from last year?
Yes.
wow. Well, good luck.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Everybody be careful, watch the corners. Watch out for golf carts. All right.
I got a quick announcement.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
August 2nd, the harbor is putting on a Mardi Gras, open to the public from 6 to 10. It's got live bands playing, 2 live bands playing from, the first band's playing from 6 to 8, the second band's 8 to 10, and food will be provided.
Thank you. All right. I will ask for a motion to go into closed session to discuss strategy connected with negotiators and collective bargaining agreement with the opponent represented by ASME.
So move. Support.
Motion made, supported. Questions? Call the roll, please. We may take action.
Papa.
Yes.
Report.
Report?
Report.
Yes, I'm sorry.
McCartney.
Yes.
Foley.
Yes.
Kinsfater.
Yes.
Krebs. Yes. Cedar.
Yes. You are welcome to hang around. We may take action upon our return, but certainly you can stay and wait. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.